Welcome to Kenosha, Wisconsin, the offseason home of the Northwestern Wildcats as they prepare for the 2013 season. Our show airs on BTN on August the 20th, but want to get you some thoughts here on BTN.com from Gerry Dinardo and Howard Griffith. Guys, Northwestern is being talked about in ways that they haven't been for quite a while. Their first preseason ranking since 2001. Is this a team you believe, after seeing them today, that can compete and perhaps win the Legends Division title?
Yeah, I've had them in that race since spring practice. I do think Michigan's in that race. I think Nebraska's in that race, and now we've seen Michigan State, maybe them. So for me, they've always been in the mix. There's still more talented teams in the Legends, and they have Wisconsin, Ohio State in the leaders, so the schedule plays in here. But for us to be talking about this, Howard, just it tells you what an incredible job they've done here with Pat Fitzgerald and his staff. That we're talking about them competing for the Legends.
No question about it. And I'll go back and I'll get to your answering your question, Reverend. But
you're going to start being Dinardo.
I'm just momentarily.
Okay.
I usually walk away from this camp saying I don't know how they're going to do it, but I know they're going to do it because of the outstanding coaching job and the staff that they have here. This year, I'm going to walk away from this camp saying it's no question they have, not only do they have the coaching, but they now have the players to match that. So now you're talking about a program that's really on the fast track, as we've talked about before, to championships. And it's really about what these coaches have been able to do recruiting-wise and what these players have been able to do, obviously, out on the football field as well.
Let's break it down a little bit. Let's start with the offense, which was quite dynamic last year, the combination of Kane Coulter and Fenric Mark. They had the two quarterback rotation. They have a deep receiving crew. Really, the biggest question mark coming in was the offensive line. What did you guys think about that group?
First of all, I think it can continue to be dynamic. They have all those tools. The offensive line, they're replacing three, I believe. Mm-hmm. I didn't notice a significant difference from last year's offensive line. I think they have enough talent. I think this offense helps them because they have an option component to it. And anytime you have an option component to the offense, you help your offensive lineman because you gain a blocker. I think maybe coming into camp, it was a concern. I think the coaches probably are pretty comfortable with the offensive line right now.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. And I think when you talk about who they have behind them, and when you talk about having Kane Coulter at quarterback, Fenric Mark running the ball, that's going to help that offensive line because, now teams are going to have to figure out how to defend both of those guys, and they're both dynamic. And as you mentioned, the guys that are outside on the perimeter, this is a very deep group. So when you talk about being able to create explosive plays, mismatches down the field with your wide receivers, maybe getting lined up on a strong safety or a free safety, that will bode well for this offense.
They were fourth in the Big Ten rushing last year. And if you look at the stats against the best rushing defenses, they struggled against Michigan State, but everybody did. Other than that, Nebraska, Michigan, they ran the ball on almost everybody except Michigan State. And if they can do that again and then use the receivers and use Kane and Trevor, that whole thing, there's no reason they can't be dynamic.
Defense was a real thorn in their side here for a few years. They just weren't very good. They turned a corner last year. They went from 86th to 21st in the nation in rushing defense in 1 year. It was the first time they've been in the top 30 in scoring defense and rushing defense under Pat Fitzgerald nationally. What do you think? Can they continue that trend?
Well, they were third in rushing in the conference a year ago. And again, if you look at them against the best opponents, they still held up. I think when you talk about can they win the Legends, I think that's one of the key things that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to continue to be a very good rush defense. If they can be third in rushing defense like they were a year ago, I think that puts them in the Legends hunt without question.
Without doubt. When you talk about run defense, it's about being able to get off the blocks and not being cut. And when I watch this team, the defense, particularly last year, and I'm telling you this year they're more athletic, this is a team that doesn't spend a lot of time on the ground. If they are cut, they bounce up, and they're in the right area, in the right situation to come up and make the plays. They run to the ball very well, and I think it's a team-oriented defense where everybody has to be in the right gap, in the right integrity so that they can be successful.
And the offense is ahead of the defense, and anytime that's true, your offense has to help protect your defense a little bit, and they do that. They've got the up tempo, but they also slow it down. They kill the clock because they can run the ball on offense. So they're going to have to marry both offense and defense to win the Legends.
Lots more on the Wildcats coming up on BTN on August the 20th. That'll do it though for us here on BTN.com.